Hello and welcome to another planning appeal case study video. I'm John Peters, and in this video I'm going to explain how we overcame a recent refusal by Shropshire Council for one of our clients. This planning appeal was to overcome the refusal of a change of use from a public house to a dwelling that was refused by the local authority Shropshire County Council Planning Department. During the appeal process, Shropshire Council designated the public house as an asset of community value, which the inspector deals with as part of this appeal. The client came to us after the application had been refused and was booked in for a free no obligation consultation to run through the refusal reasons that have been used by Shropshire Council and to evaluate if an appeal was viable now or if an alternative option would be best suited. The free no obligation consultation, which took around 1 hour, found that this case was viable for appeal to the Planning Inspectorate, taking the decision process away from Shropshire Council Planning Department. This case was refused by Shropshire for the following reasons. Insufficient evidence has been submitted with the application to enable the local planning authority to assess whether the public house continues to be a viable community facility, and as such the proposal fails to accord with Part 4 of the National Planning Policy Framework 2021 and Shropshire's core strategy. The inspector moved this appeal from written representation to a hearing to clarify with the owner and the interested parties some of the details, facts and figures that have been used in the written representation statements that had been made by both appellant and the local authority. We offered our services to recommended a barrister for this hearing, but the client decided they were able to answer the questions of the inspector without additional representation at the hearing. The inspector in their report stated that the main issue for this case was the effect of the development on the vitality of the area and the quality of life of the local community. It was agreed by the inspector that the public house was not in an identified settlement, and as such Shropshire Council core strategy policy does not actually apply. The inspector acknowledged that there has been a reduction in the number of pubs that are away from main towns and villages in the wider area. However, the inspector stated that it does not automatically follow that the closure of these pubs would increase the demand or viability of this public house. The business accounts that were provided as part of the appeal showed that the public house had made a loss in 2015, 16, 17, 18 and 19, and only made a small profit in 2020 following a substantial government grant. The accounts details demonstrate that the operation of the pub has not been financially viable under management of the appellants. This view was also expressed by the council during the hearing. This is important because if the application for the change of use had been made correctly, detailing what is needed, then it would have been more likely to have not needed to go to appeal. The inspector during the hearing confirmed that a range of regular groups and activities, as well as more occasional events such as quiz nights, take place in a nearby village hall. Moreover, a well-attended monthly pop-up pub had been established, which is also based in the village. The inspector then stated whatever motivated the opening of the pop-up pub in January 2020, he said, "I do not doubt that its ongoing operation is harmful to the viability of the pub." A key issue for many change of use applications for public houses relate to the marketing of the public house for sale as a public house, and in respect to this, the inspector in this case said, "I have not been directed to any policy requirement or associated guidance indicating that the pub should have been marketed for a full year at a realistic price. Nevertheless, I am satisfied that the public house was subject to a comprehensive marketing campaign at a reasonable price and for a reasonable time, despite several parties viewing the property between November 2019 and June 2020. The written evidence and applicants' verbal comments indicated that no offers to purchase the property were made during that period. Consequently, the inspector considered that the marketing exercise undertaken over 2019 and 2020 demonstrates the lack of demand for property as a public house at a reasonable price. In relation to the asset of community value, the inspector commented the public house has been designated as an asset of community value. However, during the hearing, interested parties, including representatives for Save the Plough Steering Committee, advised were it for sale, the local community would not currently be interested in purchasing it. That being the case, the asset of community value designation does not lead me away from my previous findings in respect to the demand and viability of the public house. These cases were not ever straightforward, and it is essential to detail comprehensively in the planning appeal statement all relevant information and required details. Ideally, they would have been covered in the original application. With planning appeals, experience matters. Our specialist appeals team, who handle over 2.5% of all planning appeals in England and Wales that are currently produced and submitted, start by producing a comprehensive and robust appeal statement. That in this specific case covered 23 pages and just over 10,000 words. A further document was produced during the process and supplied to address the local authority's statement of case. This document was a further 11 pages and 3,000 words. It's important to detail in the appeal statement where the local authority failed in their assessment of the case and how, where possible, both local and national policy applies in favour of the appeal. Additionally, if possible, bringing in similar cases that the Planning Inspectorate found favour of at the appeal. Obviously, with the back catalogue we have of wins, we're able to use these cases and what the inspector said in them as additional arguments to support the case we are working on. Once an appeal statement is completed, we send the document to our client asking them to check that they are happy for us to submit the case. If we need to add any additional information that the client may have previously forgotten, it's supplied at this time and it's done at this point, and then the case is submitted. It's vitally important that all documents and responses are submitted on time throughout the process, as failure to do so will result in the appeal not being successful. Something we hear about often when people attempt an appeal for the first time. Always ensure you use a professional who has considerable experience of appeals. It's worth asking them for some recent successful planning appeal case studies like you'll find on our website. Due to the large number of cases we represent, we have a dedicated team that liaises with the Planning Inspectorate on a daily basis. For this appeal, an independent planning inspector from the Planning Inspectorate held the hearing on the 10th of September, and we are pleased to confirm that the appeal was upheld and permission granted on the 22nd of October in a 6-page appeal decision notice. If you'd like to find out if we can help you with your planning appeal, complete our online form on our website www.planningappealsuk.com, and our new case support team will arrange for a free no obligation consultation with one of our planning appeal assessment professionals. Thank you for taking the time to watch this planning appeal case study video, and I look forward to producing another one very shortly. Bye for now.